Afternoon. Howdy. Pour some coffee. Still dark here. It's all cloudy this morning too. It's making the sun come up even later. Sorry, it's too bright. It's gonna look like that. Hey Terry, sorry I'm messing around. I wasn't totally really set up too good. The light is weird. It's so dark. That helps a little. It's so dark in here. Time change, which y'all haven't done yet. We're on daylight savings time right now. So now the sunrise is an hour later. Hey, Nikki Brooke. Y'all do daylight savings time just like we do. Why do y'all do daylight savings time? Does anyone know? Who started it? Was it us? Was it you? I don't know. Daylight savings time. We're going to talk about anything today, so. Right now I'm talking about daylight savings time. Always around this time of year, whenever we switch, there's always the debate like, let's stop doing it. No, I didn't hear it. What fire happened in Scotland, Terry? Yeah, farming during the war, Nikki. Is that what you've heard? I don't know. I don't know the truth of why we started it or who started it. I've known that y'all do it, but I assumed we started it. I don't know whose idea it was. Huge fire. What happened? Like I don't know. Like in California, fires, most of the fires in California normally start from like campfires. Or sometimes people set fires. Like that last bad one in LA. Somebody set that fire on purpose. And then sometimes fires start from lightning strikes. What happened in Edinburgh? Anyway, yeah, your clocks move forward coming to March 29th, but why? It started from a vape shop. Destroyed, oh, a historic building, oh man. Well, no, I didn't hear about it. A vape shop, huh? Which is weird because maybe that stuff in there lights on fire easy. I wonder what started it. Hey, Sue. I was like, vaping is smokeless. It's no fire. But I bet that's vape stuff lights up. Maybe it's flammable. So kids don't go to school in the dark. That's why you do it? Well, but in the summer, kids, do your kids go to school in the summer? I'm not sure what your school schedule is for kids. In the summer here, kids don't go to school. So it wouldn't be good for that because kids don't have to get up and go to school in the summer when it's dark in the morning. I don't know. Well, we say, if you ask Americans, if you go, why do we do daylight savings time? Most of them will say Commonly said, or what I commonly hear, is that it was to do with farmers. And then it's like it's for the farmers back in the day. And then they follow that up by saying it gave them more hours of daylight to get work done. No, it didn't. It doesn't matter what time we pretend it is, the amount of daylight is the same. Now, what it does do is it makes it stay dark longer in the morning, and it makes it stay light longer into the evening. But we're just adjusting when that time happens. The amount of time is the same. So when people say, oh, it's so farmers could have more time to work in the daylight, that can't be true. But you heard the same thing, Nikki Brooks, so kids don't go to school. In your school schedule, I don't know what it is. Do they go to school in the summer? School's not out all summer long like it is in the U.S. I mean, maybe that is why you do it. That couldn't be why we do it. Who started it? I should look this up. I should have looked this up. Whose idea was it in the first place? Now, I've also heard this. I've heard this, that it allowed kids to work on farms, whereas kids wouldn't be available maybe to work in the morning because farmers get up early. Well, they'd probably rather work early in the day than late. Usually 6 weeks off school in the summer, Sue, so it doesn't make sense that it would be so kids don't have to go to school in the dark because most of the summer kids don't have to go to school in the dark. It gets dark later when we switch times. It stays dark earlier when we switch times. I'm confused by the whole kids in the school thing. So you change the hours to keep it darker longer in the summer, in the mornings. Sun comes up later now. I don't know, I'm confused about the whole thing. I really don't know why we switch or whose idea it was. I should have looked it up. I didn't know I was going to talk about that. Because we just did the time change here in the U.S. yesterday. Two of our states don't do time change. Did you know that? Hawaii and Arizona. They don't change their clocks. They stay on standard time. Daylight savings time is not real. It's not the real time. We just all pretend it is. But Hawaii and Arizona, they don't. It's weird too. A lot of proponents in the U.S., a lot of states want to stay on daylight savings time year round. They want to pretend all year long that it's never standard time. A lot of states want to do that. By federal law, states are allowed to stay on standard time, real time, like Hawaii and Arizona do. But they're not allowed by federal law to stay on daylight savings time. Isn't that weird? So a state, by federal law, can say, we're not going to do daylight savings time. But a state, by federal law, cannot say, we're going to do daylight savings time all year round. Isn't that weird? I don't know if you understand how those laws work in the U.S., but so a law like that, if the federal government says you can stay on standard time, but you can't switch to daylight savings time, the states don't really have to follow that law. A state could say, you know what we're going to do? we're going to stay on daylight savings time year round, even though that's against federal law. And what would happen if they did that is the federal government would withhold funding to that state. So certain programs in the state that disobeys federal law will not be punished, except for certain programs wouldn't get funded that are normally funded by the federal government. It's a tactic. They're saying, okay, federal government saying, okay, you're not going to obey this law. Well, we're not going to send you money for your schools. We're not going to send you money for your roads. Isn't that interesting? So there really is, the states have the power. But the federal government holds money that the states need. So they obey. But they don't have to. Our Constitution favors states' rights over federal rights. And that's just the way it works. Well, the math just ain't math, and the government only gives out distractions. Okay. But yeah. So, two of our states, they do standard time. A lot of our states want to do daylight savings time year round, but they don't because the federal government doesn't allow it. Hey Ben, I saw your pictures. If y'all aren't on the Facebook group, American Reacts to the UK, there's a link on my page description. Ben posted some photos over there of his fishing trip. What's dogfish taste like? I noticed. You made some dogfish bites or nuggets or something. Or fried pieces of dogfish. Yeah, it didn't look like you had a great day though, did you? I guess that was your brother there. I think he was holding up the small fish. What'd you call it? A pouting? Feel like cod, but it's more fishy, Ben. Kind of gamey. They don't look like they look like they got a little swim in them. They look pretty, I don't know, aquadynamic. Is that the word for it? Like aerodynamic? They look like they could swim, those dogfish, but I don't know how much fight they got in them. Anyway, I like seeing the pictures. We're talking about anything right now if you want to talk about fishing in the UK. But I do have a couple of things that I looked up. I was just talking about daylight savings time, but I don't know why. I didn't look up any information about it. My opinion is let's just stay. I don't know why we need daylight savings time. Let's just stay on real time all year round. Because it wouldn't change that much. Whatever time the sun sets in the summer, when we're on daylight savings time, whatever time that is, it would just set 1 hour earlier. Like in Texas, it's usually around 9:30. So in the summer, it gets dark in Texas about 9:30 p.m. If we didn't switch, it'd get dark in Texas about 8:30 p.m. Yeah, you glad to catch something, Ben? You blanked all day. See, you got 3 fish at the end of the day. Yeah, that does make you feel like, oh, at least something. At least something. A pouting. I've never heard of that. I believe we have dogfish off our coast in the U.S. I think. I don't know. I never caught one. But I think we have it. But I never heard of a pouting. Kind of sounds like a sad little fish. Do you eat those? I don't know what you eat or what's good to eat. Well, I got a lot to learn about UK fishing. Yesterday, or a couple of days ago, me and Genghis were talking about wines. And I do like wines. I'm a fan of wine. That's my drink of preference. And a couple times we've mentioned, some people do, but not often, they're in the cod family, pouting are, or dogfish. Pouting, I think. They're in the cod family? I didn't know that. Need to get on the river again, Nikki Brooks says. Yeah. Yeah, before the rivers close. Get out there. What you catching in the rivers, Nikki Brooks? What are you fishing for? And Ben, what did you catch that on? I was trying to look in the photos at the bait. Couldn't see. I couldn't tell. I was looking at your gear and I was looking at your setups. I mean, your rods and your reels, I'm pretty familiar with from what I could see. Squid, I thought so. I thought it was squid. I'm familiar with your rods and reels from what I could tell. Similar to what we would use fishing down on the Gulf of Mexico from the shore. I also noticed some Shakespeare, a Shakespeare box. Is that a British company, Shakespeare? I never have thought about it because I have some Shakespeare fishing gear and it's named Shakespeare. Is that made in the UK? Never thought about it until I noticed you had some. But anyway, yeah, I was wondering. So basically, the setup that you saw, that you had, and the bait you were using, pretty similar to what we would use here on the Gulf Coast. Yeah, Shakespeare's popular everywhere, I think, Ben. It's a big fishing gear brand. But it never struck me before that, maybe that's a UK brand. It's named Shakespeare. I never looked it up. But yeah, I think the equipment you're using and the bait is similar to what I've used down on the Gulf Coast of Texas. Nikki hitting trout, perch, carp, bream, chub, barbel, roach. I've never, I don't know what a roach fish looks like, I don't think. Rudd and pike. Ooh. You got an old Shakespeare rod and reel yourself, right, Nikki? Was that made in the UK? I should look that up. And never before, I've always known, Shakespeare. But I never thought, like, why is it called Shakespeare? I would love to catch a pike in the UK. I've never caught a pike. I've caught trout, perch, carp, bream. Never caught chub, or barbel. Not familiar with roach or rudd. But I would love to catch a pike. My first pike in the UK. That's what I'd like to go for. That sounds really fun for me. Like my first species, and I catch it in the UK. That would be good. That would be fun. But depending on when I come, if the rivers are closed, Shakespeare's from Michigan. Terry, did you look it up? Whoa. That's just funny. Why would they name Michigan? A lot of good fishing up there, is what I hear. Why would they name? Do y'all ice fish in the UK? Is there ice fishing? It made me think of it because of Michigan. They ice fish up there a lot. You went pike fishing once and used a dead mackerel and caught a massive cannibalized trout. Huh. I do like to trout fish. You don't get enough ice to fish anywhere? What about in Scotland? No? It doesn't get cold enough up there to freeze any locks or even the Lake District? None of those lakes freeze? I guess it doesn't get cold enough long enough? I never thought about ice fishing in the UK, but I never heard of ice fishing in the UK, so never heard of it being done in Scotland. Yeah, me either, Ben. I've never heard of ice fishing. in the UK, but I just suddenly thought of it because Michigan, they do a lot of ice fishing. I've been ice fishing, not in Michigan, but up north. It's fun. It is fun. It's a little, I mean, a lot of guys like to do it just to go drink. It's a lot of just sitting around in a hut. That's what a lot of ice fishing is. You're in a hut. It's pretty warm. It's kind of cool. You know, a lot of those huts are insulated and heated, most of them. So you're not that cold, which is weird, even though you're sitting on ice. But you're just sitting there, especially if you're not catching. I guess just like most fishing, a lot of guys do it because they just like to sit around and drink. I think that's ice fishing, that's true of. But yeah, I've done it up north. It is fun, especially if you're catching instead of just sitting there. But anyway, talking about fishing, we can keep talking about it if y'all want. I was curious because a few times you've mentioned about British wines, and I looked up a little information. That's one thing I thought I might talk about. British wines. Is anybody else a fan of wine in general? I think Genghis is, but I don't see Genghis. Yesterday I thought he wasn't here, but he was. But I don't think he said hello this morning, though. But yeah, I'd love to get a pike. Anybody else like wine? Has anyone ever tried a British wine? Wineries growing. The wine industry's growing in the UK apparently. No, I didn't get any more British snacks, Terry. I may go. Well, I'm working outside right now, but the weather's messing me up. You like a cab? Sue, have you ever had any British wine, Sue? I pulled up some information about British wines, but yeah, Terry, the weather's got me some days not being able to work. Today I'm working. Tomorrow we're supposed to get another storm midday. And I was thinking about going to World Market. It's a store that has some British foods that's close to me. I might do that tomorrow in the live stream if I'm rained out of work. And then I'll try some more snacks. You're not a fan of wine, Ben? You don't know any British wines? Good for you, probably. Nikki, you used to like a red wine, but never know too much about it. Yeah, it's good in a beef stew, right? Yeah. I can't believe it's still dark outside. It's still pitch black outside. 7:30 a.m. So it must be cloudy. It's supposed to be clear today, and I'm working outside. But I can already tell you the sun should have been out. The sun should have been out like 30 minutes ago. And it's still pitch black outside. I may not work today. I don't know. Sometimes I get the forecast wrong. But it is still like midnight dark outside. You bought a red wine today for when you make spaghetti. You use red wine, and yeah, it's good for cooking. Hiya, Choppy. There's a vineyard about 30 minutes away from you. So, we do grow wine in Texas. The truth is, I don't really like Texas wines. They're not that good. We have a city around here called Grapevine, Texas. It's a suburb between Dallas and Fort Worth. They have vineyards all outside that city. They grow grapes there. That's where there's the second British Emporium location. It's even further away from me, and it's in Grapevine, Texas. They have a big festival every year, Grape Fest. and a lot of Texas wines there. I've been. It's fun. It's nice. Grapevine is old, quaint, charming downtown. It's kind of cool. That's where you can catch a steam train. There's a steam train that runs out of Grapevine. Old steam engine. It's called the Tarantula train. That's in Grapevine where they have Grape Fest. So you can tell it's kind of a cool little city. There's a British red wine called the Straw Hat, huh? You bought? Terry, you bought a British wine. Hmm. Called Straw Hat. Oh, good name. I would love to try it. I've been keeping my eye out. I can probably order some British wine. I'm sure I can. I just don't see any in our local stores. Uh, yeah, British wines. I'm kind of curious about them. You should taste it, Terry, and tell me what it tastes like. Is it just a red blend? Is it what type of varietals? Well, I pulled up this article and I haven't read it yet. I kind of scanned it because I was like, let's talk about anything. You only got it for cooking, Terry. Well, take a little sip. I've never cooked with a wine I didn't take a little sip of. Uh, but yeah, we can talk about anything you want. But I do have an article here about British wines because I was just real curious. It's from a website called the Grape Gazette, and the article is called "The Rise of British Wines: From Novelty to Global Player." It says, "Discover the incredible rise of the UK's wine industry, from sparkling wine dominance to sustainable innovation, and how British producers are making waves globally." Interesting. Now, you're getting better weather, and it's allowing I don't want to get into it, but it sounds like global warming. And so you're getting different seasonal weather in the summer, and it's allowing you to grow grapes, or just different weather year round. And it's allowing the UK to grow grapes. Whereas before you needed to be a little bit more south to really be productive. I don't know where you grow grapes in the UK, but I'm assuming areas like Somerset, Devon, and maybe Kent, right? It's like even I think Yorkshire, Sue, is agricultural, isn't it? I don't know if they grow grapes, but I'm trying to think of agricultural areas. I've heard Kent, Somerset, Devon, the south, in the south. But I have heard that Yorkshire has farms. Maybe I'm wrong. You still got a bottle of red wine from when your twins were born back in 2006, 20 years old now? Well, let it age, especially if it's a good bottle. Okay, so here's what this article says. British wine is undergoing a remarkable transformation. Once considered a niche curiosity, you do in Essex, huh? So yeah, that's on the south end of, that's South England, right? That's where I think most of your agricultural is in the south. So I'm assuming that's where you grow grapes, and the weather would be more fitting. I'd be surprised if they're growing any grapes up in Northumberland, right? It says British wine has emerged as a serious player on the global stage, particularly in sparkling wine production, as the fastest growing wine region worldwide. So England is the fastest growing wine region worldwide. So production is really, I guess, it probably wasn't very much to start with. And so even if it's doubled, it's still probably not that much. But that could make it the fastest growing, right? says you make sparkling wine. British vineyards are redefining what's possible in cool climate winemaking. I didn't know sparkling wine was the thing. Do y'all like sparkling wine? Apparently that's what you're doing well. In England is making sparkling wine. The rise of English sparkling wine is nothing short of extraordinary. In 2022, vineyards across the UK produced 8.3 million bottles of sparkling wine, forming the backbone of the country's growing reputation. This success is underpinned by a 74% increase in vineyard plantings. That's a 74% over the last 5 years, with an additional 4,000 hectares now under cultivation. Much of this growth stems from ideal conditionings for sparkling wine production. The chalky soils of Sussex, Kent, and Hampshire mirror those of Champagne, while a warming climate has allowed classic varieties like Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Meunier to thrive. Hey, Davey Verse, what's up? We're talking about anything, but right now I'm talking about British wine. So that's interesting. Sussex, Kent, and Hampshire. The chalky soil mirrors that of Champagne in France. Okay, it says that you're carving out a niche while sparkling wines dominate. I didn't know that. Sparkling wines dominate. Still, English wines are gaining recognition. Bacchus, often hailed as England's answer to Sauvignon Blanc. So Bacchus is a grape. They've started growing tea in Cornwall? Tea, well, that says TAC. Oh, tea, there it is. So, really? Start growing tea. Yeah, it doesn't seem like you have the right environment for that. Oh, you made it, Davy Verse? Where are you? You are, yeah, where are you? Are you in Chicago? Hmm. uh, okay, so the Bacchus is your answer to Sauvignon Blanc. It's become a standout variety, offering crisp, aromatic wines that appeal to broad audience. Pinot Gris and Pinot Noir are also emerging as popular options, showcasing the diversity of British wine. Producers continue to innovate, experimenting with clones and vineyard techniques to enhance quality. I do enjoy a Sauvignon Blanc. Maybe I'll keep my eye out for a British Bacchus. You're in Chicago this morning, right? Heading out Route 66 today. Wow. Are you gonna? Oh, you're leaving today. I was gonna give you so many recommendations for Chicago. It's one of my favorite cities. You're leaving today. Okay. You're gonna hit St. Louis today, aren't you? Then, right? If you're leaving Chicago today, you're gonna be in St. Louis in about 5 hours, depending on how you drive and how much you stop. Right? So when you get through St. Louis, Davy, oh, you're not, you're only going to go as far as Springfield today? You are British. Springfield, you're going to hit in like what, 3 hours? Maybe you're wanting to stop in Springfield, home of Abraham Lincoln. You can't stand more than like 3 hours on the road. I think Springfield's about 3 hours from Chicago. And St. Louis is about 5. You're going to stop. Oh, you want to see Springfield? Are you interested because it's Abraham Lincoln's home? Yeah, The Simpsons Isn't they do live in Springfield, but Springfield is a common. There's a ton of Springfields in the U.S. So it's kind of a generic name. There's a whole bunch. I think almost every state has a Springfield. Springfield, Illinois, probably the most famous because that's where Lincoln lived. He wasn't born in Illinois, though. I think he was born in Tennessee. But he grew up and his home is in Springfield, Illinois. You want to see the Lincoln stuff? Yeah, that makes sense. Good job. I'm still laughing that you can't even go past Springfield in one day. You're barely going to be on the road. You're doing Route 66, man. Put the hammer down and go. But there is a lot to see. Okay, when you go through St. Louis tomorrow, uh, I mean, what are you going to see there? Are you going to stop in St. Louis? I lived in St. Louis for 10 years. Looking forward to, well, you're going to be a while before you get to cowboy country, Davey. Anyway, I'm curious what you're going to do in St. Louis. Are you just going to drive right through it? Because you're going to hit St. Louis pretty quick after you leave Springfield tomorrow. If you leave, yeah. If you're just going to fly through St. Louis and not stop, if you're not spending the night in St. Louis, I would go, I would make sure, Davey, that you're going to be on Route 66. So you're going to pass right by this place, okay? You don't have to get off Route 66. You are stopping in St. Louis. I believe they're mobster stuff. Hmm. The mobster stuff to visit was in Chicago, Davey. I mean, there's some mobster ties to St. Louis, but you could have gone to like places in Chicago where mobster hits happened, mobster gang wars took place. Chicago was the place to see mobster stuff. Anyway, I was going to say if you're not stopping in St. Louis, on Route 66, uh, on the west side of St. Louis, there's a place, it's called Ted Drew's. It's spelled Drewes. Drew's. Ted Drew's. It's a frozen custard shop. Okay, it's right on Route 66. You can't miss it. And you're going to be there not on a weekend, so there won't be a long queue. On the weekends, Ted Drew's has queues down the street. But you're going to be there. Stop and get frozen custard. It's a taste of St. Louis. It represents the city, and it's frozen custard like you never had before. It's going to blow your mind. You're going right past it. It's on Route 66. There'll be a big sign, Ted Drew's Frozen Custard. It's a cool looking place, and it is Drew's, Drews. Drews, Ted Drew's. You can't miss it. There's going to be big signs, and it represents St. Louis. St. Louisans go there and flood that place all summer long on the weekends, and it's the best frozen custard you're going to ever have in your life. It'll blow your mind. That's my one recommendation. If you're going through St. Louis and you're not really going to stop and you don't want to get off Route 66, it's right there. Delicious frozen custard. I miss it. I miss it. Okay. Sorry we talked about St. Louis. If you want more St. Louis recommendations, if you're going to spend the night there, shoot me an email, Davey Verse. AmericanReactstotheUK at gmail.com. My email's on my page description. I got all kinds of St. Louis recommendations. And Missouri. I've been that route you're taking right now. I've driven that, Route 66, all the way to Texas. When you come through Texas, let me know. Okay, sorry. We're talking about now Route 66. Brother-in-law loves St. Louis. It's a good city, Baldrick. Good to see you, Baldrick. know that whole route. I've driven that route from St. Louis to Texas on Route 66. I never went very far out west on Route 66, but I've driven that year several times. You do this thing. Appreciate that, Davey Verse. Um, so the core strength of British wine, and apparently you're putting a lot of, yeah, you're doing good with sparkling wine. It says that sustainability is central to the growth of English wine. Many vineyards are adopting eco-friendly practices from using organic and biodynamic methods. So you're doing it right. It says despite its rapid growth, British wine is not without its challenges. The unpredictable UK weather can threaten harvests, right? I thought that might be true. And late frost or excessive rain can significantly impact yields. Okay, so sometimes the weather's still giving you a little bit of trouble there. What are you driving, Davey Verse? No, he said he was getting an SUV. Back at work, Patrick? But yeah, what are you driving, Davey Verse? Ooh, you got your boat safety ski. Ooh, good luck. Also good hedge wines too, birch and berries. Verity Snatch, good to see you. Huh, I never thought about hedge wines. What do those taste like? It's a South thing wine, yeah. Too cold in the north, right? Your beers are the best. Whiskey's still the best, right? You got an Outlander. He's driving a Toyota. That's nice. That's a good vehicle. Pretty comfortable for an SUV. It's not an American SUV, but you're probably better off. I would recommend a Toyota Outlander over like a Ford Explorer. Hey, Adrian. There's a vineyard in Bradford on Avon. People can sample. Birch tastes like a white grape wine. Birch. Interesting. An Outlander. Yeah, that'll be good. That's a good vehicle. It says the future of English wine is a story of ambition and innovation. It says your sparkling wines are already achieving global acclaim, and your still wines are steadily growing in popularity. So that's just one article. That's the end of it. But I was curious about British wines, and you folks had mentioned to me that you're starting to grow more. And so I wanted to learn a little bit. I'm going to keep my eye out. I can probably order some British wine. And wine is my drink of preference. I don't drink much. When I do, it's a glass or two of wine. So I'm curious about British wines. I'm not too big of a fan of sparkling wine. I don't usually like sparkling wine. Occasionally I might drink a sparkling rosé, but almost never. I don't really drink sparkling wines. You like a rosé, Terry? I prefer it. Wine to me, it depends on what I'm doing, what I'm eating. You love wine with meals, usually a nice red, yeah. Yeah, for me, wine is about what I'm doing and what I'm eating. And that determines which wines I prefer. A nice cab, like Sue, you said you like a nice Cabernet with a good piece of steak. Sign me up for that. I like a cab with chocolate. Cabernet goes pretty good with chocolate. I like a Syrah sometimes. For just sitting around and drinking, I like a blend or a table red, or maybe a Pinot Noir. Just for sipping on, maybe with cheese and crackers. Hey, Genghis, we're talking about wine. You need 2 bottles of any sparkling wine to outpace the hangover. Yeah, I don't like the hangover from sweet or sparkling wines. That's why I don't. Yeah, they're just too sweet for me. I like a nice white wine in the summer, just sitting around. You're not keen on Rioja? I like Syrahs. I do like a wide variety. I do like reds and whites. Generally not sparkling or not sweet. I prefer a dry wine. I like a Sauvignon Blanc. And the city grow wine, the Bacchus, says you grow that grape in the UK. And it's your answer to Sauvignon Blanc. I do like that wine, so I might look out for that. You find red wine too vinegar tasty? Yeah, that's the tannins. Red wines have a lot of tannins. Maybe more expensive ones are much better. Well, all red wine will have tannins, and that's the flavor that you probably don't like. You're calling it kind of vinegar tasty. You like a Rioja, Adrian, huh? Or a nice Bordeaux. Good with something rich and hearty, a Rioja or Bordeaux. Something like a meaty steak, or I might have it with like a spicy pasta, a Rioja with a spicy pasta. You're not a wine drinker, Davy Verse. Whiskey's your poison. Well, did you get some Jim Beam for your trip? Did you get a Tennessee whiskey or Kentucky bourbon? Costa Ron is nice with almost anything, Genghis. You were just at a wine tasting, Genghis. Were you trying British wines or all kinds? White is too acidic for you. Yeah, I get that, Verity Snatch. Yeah, wine's not for everybody. It is acidic, no doubt, especially white. I like a Pinot Gris or Pinot Grigio. I don't mind an oaky Chardonnay. I think red wine is better too with cooking. True. Oh, you ever make coq de vin? Coq de vin? You ever make that French dish? Chicken cooked in red wine? It's pretty good. And it's easier to make than you think, Terry. I don't know if you ever made it. It's classic French cooking. Coq de vin. It just means chicken and wine. And that's basically what it is. you just cook chicken and red wine. Sounds fancy, but it's not hard to make. You can impress a date, Terry. Oh, I'm going to make this French dish. And it's really simple. You brought famous grouse with me, got a few bottles. I'll email you if you have P.O. I don't have a P.O. box. I'm sorry, Davey. But yeah, email me. You brought famous grouse with you, huh? Interesting. When are you getting to Texas, do you know? Yeah, just email me. We can have a chat. You have chicken. Yeah, it's simple. You can look it up. I mean, it's stewed chicken and red wine. That's it, really. It's just sounds fancy. And it's good. It's classic. If you decide to make it, you can find Julia Chow. Find her online making the classic coq de vin. She's fun to watch. And she talks normal and just, this is how you make it, and it's not fancy. I think that video I think she has a famous video where she takes the legs of like chicken and that she's about to cook, and she makes it dance. I think that might be in that coq de vin video. Grouse probably the biggest selling whiskey, but it's bar whiskey, huh? Oh yeah, it's for spring for a Bunahabion, or spring for a Springbank. Yeah, I don't drink a lot of whiskey, and I don't know about your whiskey. I've had a lot of Tennessee whiskey. And yeah, Davey probably drinks whatever he likes, Verity Snatch. We all do. We all drink whatever we like. Anyway, that's a little bit of talk about British wines that does interest me. Out today, the video London day trips and 5 ways. Amarillo on the 15th. Okay. Britain is the land of whiskey and gin. Yeah, I know, famous for gin. Verity Snatch. That's why I'm curious about, wine growth in the UK, because it's new, it's different. They're getting more common, Adrian, right? Your climate is getting warmer. That's what the article said. Conditions are now more like in France. The article said the exponential growth in the UK is 75% right now. So yeah, you're growing exponentially. You weren't very big to start, but didn't it say 75% or something like that? So there's getting a lot more. Yeah, Lagavulin very famous. I don't know how to say it or spell it, Sue, but it is very famous up in Scotland. It's getting better, but it takes a label of patriotism to call them good. Okay, very snip. British soil, great for agriculture. That's right, Davey. Great for agriculture. Yeah. I'm just interested because it's kind of a new thing. You're getting bigger and better at it. More vineyards. And I'd like to try British wine. Yeah, London Day Trips video. Of course, you know why I watched that video, because I was curious as to what trips I could make. As I still continue to plan. If you've seen my part one of my trip diary, I laid out my basic ideas, but those could all change. And so I wanted to watch that video about London day trips, and it was interesting. I did get some ideas from it. And also out 5 ways the UK builds community better than the US. I like that video. It's my first time watching the channel, I think. Was it you, Nikki Brooke, that recommended that channel? It might have been. The sun is just coming out here, about an hour late. That's so weird. That was you, Nikki? This is my first time watching the channel. Can I be honest with you? I always like to be honest. The guys seem real nice, but that video would have suited me better had it just said 5 great ways the UK builds community. I don't know. I don't really understand. Well, I do understand. When a video is like, here's what is good in the UK, and here's what's bad in the US. So it begins to be not only a building up of the UK video, but a bashing of the US video. And they do that, they're pandering. This is my opinion, Nikki, but he's pandering to his audience. And even if it is, like I saw the thumbnail and I was like, yeah, that doesn't bother me, that it is like 5 things you do better in the UK in building communities than we do in the US, because I can learn from that. But there was at least 2 or 3 of those where he was stretching it. He was saying, like, okay, like he was saying, better communities are built in the UK because cities are walkable and they're town centers, and it builds community. And in the US, we don't have that. And so that's one way that we should learn from you. 100% agree with that. 100% agree with that. He's right. It does build communities to have your town centers the way you do, and the way you can all walk around. That's right. And we don't have that in the US. And so 100% I'm on board with that. But when he says, like, volunteer for your community, that builds communities. And we do that in the UK. And they don't do that in the US. That's not true. At least my family and my friends, we all volunteer. So I felt like, now maybe that's just his experience. And maybe where he's from in the US, he never volunteered. Or maybe you volunteer on a much, much bigger level than we do in the US. Maybe. But my experience is, me and my friends volunteer for stuff. Me and my family volunteer for stuff. And So I think he was just kind of added on. He was like, here's why community is good in the UK. We volunteer for stuff. And then to kind of pander, he added on, and they don't in the US. And I don't think that's true. So a little bit I was disappointed in what he was saying. Now, like your footpaths and the way you can walk across other people's property, you know, your right to roam, that probably does fuel community because, well, you're on someone's property and hopefully you're not abusing that right. And that's why that right remains available. And it gives you some sort of ownership and makes you feel part of the community. And we don't have that in the UK. I mean, we don't have that in the US. And so then there I see that's a valid point he's making, and we should learn from it. You know what I mean? So, like, I think 3 out of the 5 I agree that we don't do in the US, but at least 2 of them, I was like, that's not right. At least in my experience. I think he was just adding on. And they don't do that in the US, but we do. So a little bit I was like, I think videos like that are more honest and genuine if the title would be, here are 5 things we do in the UK that build community. Why try to add on? And they don't do it in the US. In some of the cases, he was right, but in some of the cases, I don't believe he was right. Anyway, communities are strong anywhere in the world, really. Well, I mean, I think you do have strong communities in the UK, Nikki. Bit of a silly statement by Mac, but it just made his own experience. Yeah, it may be his own experience, Nikki. I'll keep watching the channel, but I do think, at least on what were the ones that we don't volunteer, I think he was just kind of adding that in there. And there was another one he said that I was like, oh, I think that's right. You notice that yesterday we had the P&Qs yesterday. It was still being UK polite and everyone took advantage. The P&Qs. I don't know what that is. Day reverse. Anyway, good video. I liked it. He seems like a nice guy. I'll still watch the channel. Is it pronounced Leicester, the city where he was? At the beginning he said something, here in Leicester, going shopping. And I thought he meant he was taking someone named Lester shopping. And so it didn't click to me that that's where he was. I thought it was pronounced Leicester. Am I wrong? He said Leicester. And it threw me off. I was like, where's he at? Where are him and Lester at? I know how it's spelled, Verity Snatch. Oh, politeness and queuing. Okay, that's the P and Q. Okay, so I'm right. It's Leicester, pronounced. But at the beginning, he goes, we're in Leicester doing some shopping. But I thought he meant him and somebody named Lester. We're somewhere doing shopping. So the whole video, I was like, where is he? So I was right. It's Leicester, right? It's pronounced Leicester. He called it Lester, and it threw me off. Oh, was it pronounced Lester, Verity? I'm so confused. I don't know how to say it. Well, Lester, like in Red Dwarf, I'm not real familiar. Okay, he was right. Okay, it's Lester. Okay, see, I didn't know how to pronounce it, and so I was confused. I was like, Lester, where's he at? Okay, so it's Lester. Okay, you meant he was right. Okay. I was confused about where he was. The guy in the video pronounced it right. Okay. I didn't say it. I didn't say Leicester, but I thought it was pronounced that. And so it threw me off. What about Bister? Is that pronounced Bester? It's a contraction. Yeah, I know how it's spelled, Verity Snap. Someone said it was, yeah, somebody said it was Worcester, but it was Leicester. It was Leicester. and that's how you say it. But now I'm confused about the city Bister because I thought that's spelled similar. Is it pronounced Bester? Buster? I don't know. It's so confusing. Figure it out one of these days. So that was a little talk. I was going to talk. I pulled up another article about the perfect Sunday roast and kind of the history of the Sunday roast and what the classic examples of a Sunday roast are. But maybe I'll talk about that tomorrow because I'm getting ready to I want to make a Sunday roast in the classic British tradition for my channel. So I was going to do a little research and I got this article. I'll talk about it tomorrow in the live stream. What are the origins of the Sunday roast? What's a classic Sunday roast? What are the ingredients? What is the history? I've got an article all about that. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Yeah, I know you gotta have Yorkshire puddings. I know. I make them, Nikki Brooke. I make them. Love a Sunday roast, Ben. I've got that beef I'm gonna try. So I'm gonna make a full Sunday roast for my channel. And I want to do it in a traditional manner. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. I think traffic dying down the night is saying, so gonna make a start and head into the city. Peace, Davey. Have a good trip. Send me an email. Yeah. But good to see everybody today. Davey Verse is in the U.S. In Chicago. Can't drive more than 3 hours. Springest lamb made with beef, right? People can do turkey or chicken or pork, yeah. Have Yorkshires before the main course, huh, Sue? I like Yorkshires for breakfast. I do. I've had them for breakfast now because whenever I make them, they're left over. And I always make a sweet treat and have leftover Yorkshire puds for breakfast. Yeah, Ben, have a good one. Thanks for everybody for being here. It's good to see you, Ben, Sue, Davey, Nikki, Adrian, Verity, Genghis, Terry. Have a good day, Terry. Nikki, Brooke. Good to see you all here today. I don't know if I'm missing anybody, but yeah, Sue, I know. Yeah, get out there and support the English wines. Pick up a bottle. Baldrick, good to see you. Good luck on your inspection. I don't know who else was here today, but I probably missed somebody. Choppy. Good to see you, Choppy. But yeah, everybody have a good day today. Cheers to you all. Your nans? Okay. It's Nikki talking to Sue, a couple of Yorkshires. Anyway, everybody have a good day. Wayne from Dallas, Texas, signing out.